Hey, this is Dead Gamer. This video is a comparison video for the new Zoat model. I'm very excited about this model. In general, I've loved the Zoats for quite some time, meaning back in the day, like 80s and early 90s day, because they're just rad. They're just giant, like rhinoceros-y kind of, well, the old ones were kind of rhinoceros-y legged, half ogre. Yeah, just awesome thing. So I got my stick here with a bunch of Zoats on, or not a bunch, but a Zoat and some other Blackstone Fortress friends. I also have some other guys I'll be throwing up here. The Primaris Space Marine, the Old Space Marine, Trader Imperial Guardsman, just to give you guys a reference point of how big this model is. He came out, or he's out now in the in 2020 anyway. He's out in this Blackstone Fortress set. I forgot the name of this. It's like the Might of the Zoat or something. No, it's not anything like that, but that's what just came to my mind. So anyway, without further ado, let's just kind of throw this out there, and I'm gonna start off with the classic Zoat next to the. You know what? This is diminishing the importance of the classic Zoat slash. Let me get rid of these Blackstone Fortress dudes. We're just going straight Zoat on Zoat action. So here we go, Zoat on Zoat action. So again, I'm going to tilt this. This is a metal figure, so he's going to fall off. So centered in the ruler, kind of like the spine. There's your new Zoat right here. He's got his like blaster and a power fisty kind of deal. Sweet looking masked face. And he's ready for action. This is an old Zoat. Looks like he's missing a head, but he's not. The head's actually just a really interesting sculpt. I'm not going to say bad because this was the 80s. And some people think all things from the 80s are bad, and others think that it's nostalgia. So we got the Zoat number 1, the Zoat number 2. I mean, the size difference is obviously, you can see it. The top of this Zoat head goes about to the bottom of that top plate right there. So on his back, where that plate kind of cruises under. So not much difference in terms of height. Definitely a difference in mass. So I'm going to reposition these. I'll do one more turn so you can kind of see the top right there versus the top of that guy right there. Extremely thin. Used to be on the Cav bases, the Warhammer Fantasy Cav, but those were also the old Space Marine bike bases. They didn't have ovals back in the day. Crazy long tail also. I kind of got to move this Zoat down a little bit, but you could see the tail is quite far out there. He was kind of covering it before. So the Zoat goes the distance, in other words. So let me take off this metal guy real quick. I'm going to put him in front of him just to kind of give you a I'll sort of hold him tail to tail, give you how much longer he is. Right about there. I hope you can see that. I can't even see my, oh, you know what? It's the foreshortening is screwing us up. So, oh, over the top of him. That'll do it. So there's your Zoat distances, right? He's definitely longer. Not by far, but significant, you know. The real crazy thing is just how much wider the Zoat is now. So let me turn this guy sideways or facing you, and let me turn this guy. I hope this works. Look at that. Like, there's the old Zoat. Right, let me move my head. Pretty thin model. You can see his legs are kind of together. Not a lot of dynamism, as they say. And then you look at this bloated bastard. He's got hips for days. He's yeah, he's loved by some and hated by others because of those big old hips. So there you go. You got the giant hip Zoat, and you got the skinny waistline Zoat, supermodel Zoat, and festively plump, as Cartman would say, Zoat. So yeah, that's the Zoats for the old and the new. Now I'm gonna throw in some current stuff because you're like, dude, I have no old Zoats. I have no idea. That's Morbo right there. Yes, from Futurama. I have no idea what the old Zoat was size-wise, so I need some real-world current comparisons. So I'm gonna throw on the another classic rogue trader coming into the new generation of Warhammer 40k. I'm gonna throw on the Amble Hulk. We got the Chaos Ogre guy, Ogren from Blackstone Fortress. We got a trader. We're going straight evil on this comparison. We got a trader marine from Blackstone Fortress. So there's your lineup. Let's just kind of do it from there for a second. Let me get the ruler so it's flat for your camera. And there's your ruler. So he's a little shorter than the Amble Hulk, in all honesty. You can kind of see a little bit shorter. He's a little taller than a ogre, or an ogrin, excuse me. And obviously he's a lot taller than an Imperial Guardsman. So I'll just kind of put it right about there, let you do the pause video or whatever you want to do. I'm going to turn it a little bit. We'll go from the top. Oh, that reflection's killing me from the ruler, sorry. So there he is. Amble Hulk still wins in terms of just overall massitude. He's also on the same size base as the Amble Hulk, which is interesting. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Is that I'll hold this up though. I'll just slowly turn it around while I'm talking. I was hoping they'd put him on more of like a Dragon Ogre. Oh shit, I should have got a Dragon Ogre out from the new Age of Sigmar line. Well, it's not the new. So the Dragon Ogres came out a few years ago before Age of Sigmar launched. If you're a 40k guy, you don't care, but sure, a lot of people were probably thinking about converting Dragon Ogres because I think that set's like 50 or 60 bucks for 3 of them, where this set's 50 bucks for 1. So obviously you'd have to buy a box of whatchamacallits too. Ogrins, right? They're Ogrins? Yeah. So that's another like 50, 60 bucks. Then you convert. So I guess you get 1 free one, right? Because he's 50 bucks. You buy 2 boxes for 100 bucks. Or you could buy a box of Dragon Ogres, a box of Ogrins, which is 3 each, and then convert your own. You'd have to do a ton of puttying too, because neither of their heads would work for the Zoat head. The Zoat head's kind of like a weird, God, it's almost like a fat frog head with, I mean, fat chubby cheek frog head, but almost has like a little bit of a turtle head mouth, but no jaws. I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. Oh, you know what we could do? I could show you the old pictures of Zoats too. So here's a comparison. Sorry about the dings. My phone's next to me and I forgot to put it on silent notification. My buddy's blowing me up. So let's throw a Primaris Space Marine next to this bad boy. And just give you an idea of how much he is in height to that guy. So the Zoat is looking at probably just under Primaris head. Probably about where the Zoat neck is. Yep, under his chin. So if you got Primaris Marines, know that the chin of the Zoat is about where the head of the Primaris Marine dude is. So there he is in all his glory. Let's get that old school Space Marine. Not super old, not beaky old, but talking pre-primarified Marine. Look at that tiny bastard. He's actually the Imperial Guard's taller than, actually the same height. That is hilarious. Wow. Yeah, so Zoat definitely looks way more imposing next to that tiny tin can of a human being. So we'll get rid of those guys, and I'll do a little side turn on the Zoat, and we can do a little, I don't know what else you want to see. You know, I'm just going to hold them up to the camera and talk about it a little bit. The kit's really interesting to put together. He's got, one thing I don't like about him is his head was 2 parts, and literally the seam line is right down the center. So I'm sure you're not going to see it on this camera, but it took work to just make, because see that little weird nose beak thing he's got going on right here? It's got like almost like a plasma gun coil on the top of it. And anytime you have to glue coil to coil, you get that real shitty seam line. So it's just takes a lot of effort to just file all that out. I'm super anal about like lines and gaps and things like that. So it just, his head was a bitch. And it's weird because the head could have been cast as one piece, like absolutely could have been cast as one piece. I've seen stuff way more, like for example, his gun, thanks Morbo, I appreciate that, buddy. His gun is one piece, right? And that is about as fat as his head is, right? And yet his head was these weird two parts. So that kind of blew. But the model went together really, really cool. The other, I guess, gripe I'd have if I'm going to talk shit about this model, you know, he's pretty dope, is that he's got this alligator tail, right? Well, you got the ridges on the alligator tail, and then it comes up here, and then it's got ridges on one side. Oh, let's see if I can capture it in the light. Okay, so you see the ridges here, and then you got ridges back here. So it almost Y's out. It's like the tail goes up, and then it breaks off and has two ridge lines, and where his spine would be, it's recessed, which is just a strange, it almost looks like, see how he looks like, see a little V going on in the shadow in the back? If I can get my toothpick right, yeah. See how it V's down? It just looks strange. Like it looks like it was supposed to be, I don't know why they just didn't make it a spine. And they did that weird alligator thing. They did it normal with this guy. You know, his spine just carries on. So his tail just runs and it goes right into that spine, right? But this guy, it goes off like an alligator, where an alligator has that, it's like on either side of the tail, he's got those ridge lines, and then in the center of the tail is kind of a droop or crocodile. I don't know the difference, but anyway, so that's kind of a weird thing about this model that I didn't particularly like, but the rest of him is pretty dope. The old Zoats were basically slaves to the Tyranids. So they had like Tyranid weapons. This particular model, I think, was meant to be the replacement of the old one that had a power fist and flesh borer. But I know that they don't have flesh borers or power fists and Tyranids anymore, but old 40K had all kinds of crazy stuff. So, you know, cats and dogs were living together back in that time. So that being said, I'm going to pull up a white dwarf in my collection that, this is white dwarf number 97. And this is the first one I found that had the Zoat advertisement in it. And, it's pretty sweet, actually. I haven't read the new Zoat, lore, but the old Zoat, basically, it says the Zoats are the slave warriors of the Tyranids. Their gene engineers, got it, have created a breed which combines the martial values of total brute strength, size, and speed with an advanced and highly capable intelligence. Zoats are trusted and respected by their Tyranid masters, although many have escaped and even, on a rare occasion, rebelled. Renegade Zoats fight as pirates and mercenaries. Big, mean, and moody, they smile rarely. Damn, that's a strange word. I don't think I've ever seen that word. W-R-Y-L-Y. Yeah, there's no shame in the lack of education that I have, game. Whatever, however you say that word. As they rip the hands off Space Marines, Space Zoats are feared throughout the galaxy. Zoats in space, nothing can stand in their way. Pretty badass. Let me take this post-it off. Let me show you this bad boy. So, there's one with two flesh borers at the top. That guy right there, which is the one we saw with the weird looking head. That's actually called a multi-melta back in Rogue Trader. Then this guy down here has the flesh borer and the power fist. And I believe that that's the one that this guy's representing. I think they're going for that. Because, yeah, the flesh borer is even in the same side of the hand. And the Power Fist is, obviously this isn't a flesh borer anymore, but back in that day, it was a flesh borer and a Power Fist. So I believe he's the one that they're mimicking right there. Put that up there. And then the last guy has a flesh borer as well in his hand. So that's the Zoats. If you ever want to look them up, or you have old copies of White Dwarf, this is number 97. It's where they were, their little articles featured. Again, I don't know what the lore is now. I haven't read it. They just came with a little booklet. I just got too excited about building this sweet, sweet model. But in my personal opinion, I hope that they start doing more stuff like this in the Amble Hulk and things like that, because that's really triggering my 40K back in me. You know, the re-release of the Gene Stealer Cult brought me back into the game. At least brought me back into like buying the current stuff. I was always collecting the old stuff on the internet, just finding it where I could and buying what I wanted. But once they redid the Gene Stealer Cult, I was like in. Like, that was just awesome. And also, well, we don't need to get into the house fire thing, but you know, losing all your shit in house fire and then having them come out with newer, cool versions of the models. It's neat because it almost feels like I have a lot of that stuff back, even though it's new style. It's still pretty damn cool. So that being said, I hope there's more Zoats in the future, in my opinion. It's interesting. I have to read about their lore and figure out what they're doing now. But if you have the opportunity and you have the $50 and you want to go out and get yourself a sweet Zoat, look at that little bastard next to him. He's like, let's party, dude. It's Saturday night. Let's put on some Katy Perry and that Saturday night song and rock out. Wake up in a pool. And however else the song goes, I don't even know. Now it's going to be caught in my head when I remember how it goes. Damn me. Okay. Well, that's it for the Zoat video. It's about as long as the Fabius Bile video I just did. So, score, I'm hitting that 17-minute mark. Hopefully, you found it useful and helpful. If there's something in particular you want to know about the Zoat, hit me up. Or anything else. I'm going to be trying to do some AOS stuff. I got to build some Lumineth, because I want to see those new elves next to the old elves. Not that you care, because you're watching this because you like 40K. But maybe you're, maybe you play both sides of the fence there. Chicka wow wow, chicka wow wow. So, anyhow, or Realm Gate, as they would say in AOS. Oh, look what I did. That pun was for you, Lord Technopants. There it is. All right, guys. Enjoy. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you on the next one.